5 o'clock, January 29th, 2026. Going to get this meeting underway. Just want to let everybody know this meeting is being recorded by Marshfield Community Media. Is there anybody else in this room recording? I see none. Can I have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have some comments I want to make. We had an unfortunate accident a couple weeks ago. Grace Owens was in a bad accident. I want to wish Grace a full recovery. It's my understanding Grace was badly injured and it will take a long time to recover. Grace is in my thoughts and prayers. Paul Kent. Unfortunately, unfortunate news that was brought to my attention that Paul passed away shoveling snow at a family member's house from a latest snowstorm. I want to pass along my condolences to the family as well as my prayers. Nancy Pareka. More unfortunate news that our wonderful ZBA clerk, Nancy Pareka, passed away a few days ago. Nancy would be sorely missed. I always enjoyed bopping into the office and talking to Nancy. Nancy was always a pleasure to talk to and was always on her game. Nancy was a wealth of information. I want to pass on my condolences and prayers to the family as well. We do have a winter storm approaching. If you have not been following the weather, and I don't blame you if you don't, we may have another big snowstorm on the way. Please be careful shoveling, as the snow is going to be heavier than the past storm. I talked to IT, and there's a messaging application you can get from the town. If you go to the keypad on your cell phone and type in 77295, and then go into the body of the text and text in town, TOWN, and send that, and then wait for a confirmation. If you don't get a confirmation, please email the help desk at Town Hall, and they will assist you when they get a chance. Did I get that right, Rob?
Yep, the email is help desk.
The email is helpdesk@thetownofmarshfield.org. Thank you. I want to say thank you to all of our first responders for the job they did this past storm. I sincerely want to thank the DPW for the job they did, as I thought they did a great job. I know some people have had their criticism in certain areas of town about snow removal. Please keep in mind that the staff work long hours and we are in a budget deficit, so things are not going to be perfect. I do hope the staff at the DPW gets to read the complaints, and next time the DPW staff is out, they will have in mind what they may be able to improve on if possible due to the circumstances we are in. If there's anyone who got their fair share of complaints and has tried to do better, if possible, it would be me. There was a CPC meeting held in January, I believe. As I watched it, the January CPC meeting and was disappointed in the vote to not allow funding for the Friendship Hall. What really caught my attention was, in my opinion, the anti-Catholic rhetoric that was displayed by some of these CPC members. What goes on inside the building does not pertain to what is needed on the outside of the building. In regards to the budget, I know the budget was supposed to be presented on the 26th of January. Due to the budget issues the town is having, a spectacular finance team needs more time to put a complete picture together for the town to see and hear. Please be patient. And that is it for my chair's report. Comments. Peter, do you have an administrator's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to expound further on the budget, I just wanted to give a brief update on it. The process that is being followed by the town administrator's office and by departments is different than in the last several years. More input is being sought from department heads, and efforts are being made by accounting and the finance officers to correct some departments in the budget, moving items out of some departments and putting them into more appropriate budget categories or budget departments. Moreover, we've just received official state aid and state assessments. The official totals came in yesterday. And so having accurate revenue and assessment numbers rather than going with estimates will lend to the accuracy and the improvement of the budget that is presented at town meeting. It's, it's been my experience that it's better to be right than be fast. And I know that Charlie Sumner is working continuously with Meg on this. I think we'll be in a good place to present a budget, in the coming days. And I am appreciative of the patience of this board and of the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We have a public comment. Martine Anderson.
Hi. I may or may not have anything to say, but I have to put my name down if I'm going to say something.
Do you want to say it later?
I may not say anything.
All right.
Thanks for asking.
Well, your name's on the list, so. All right, we're gonna take up an action item, discussion use of trail cameras on town trails. Lieutenant Sullivan and Ned, if you want to step up, please. I just wanted, I know I spoke to you guys before the meeting started that there was a little misunderstanding in regards to this being on the agenda. I was hoping to get you two together with myself just to go over some more details, but you're here. I know you spoke about it the last time, so if you want to just, if there's any more, you want to, how can I say, reiterate what you said the last time, if there's anything more to add on. And then I guess the other thing is too is certain segments of this is probably gonna have to be taken up in executive session as well. So Ned, it's all you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ned Bangs, Chair of the Trails Committee, 210 Woodlawn Circle. I think what we want to make sure they emphasize is that we're not looking to put cameras on every trail, the entire length of a trail. We all understand that cameras are a way of life now, fact of life. You go to any sports games, you'll see cameras there. What we're looking to do is to address problem areas and select placement of cameras. Lieutenant Sullivan and I have spoken a little bit about the process. Once the camera's up, we notice some vandalism, and then next steps to follow with that. So that's all I'd like to bring up right now.
Lieutenant Sullivan, do you have anything?
No, I think that the cameras are a good investigative tool, and we can deploy them wherever in town we need on a problem-oriented basis. If we have a problem at a certain location, we can deploy the cameras and do the best we can do to figure out who it is for our suspect, and the police will handle the investigative end.
It's outside of like how they're going to be placed and times and all that. We can save that for an executive session, but I guess the main, at least for me anyways, is who's going to have control of the SD cards, who's going to be one, in charge of the equipment, I guess, and placing them when this gets approved to be done.
Yeah, I would say that the Trails Committee and Ned would decide where they were placed, but it's obviously a joint decision between anyone that wants to be involved. So there's issues, Ned can certainly consult me or anyone from the police department. If there is an incident and we do need to take the SD cards or any sort of evidentiary thing from that, we can do it on the police end. And if we run into problems on the police end, we have very competent IT people here for the town too. So I'm confident we can get what we need when we need it.
Yeah, so I mean, my look at it is that we don't need to keep the cameras up on a 24/7 basis. It's just that if something goes on in the trails, you can install them and then
Sure,
go from there.
we could go into his bar.
And take them down after a certain period of time.
Absolutely, we can not deploy them until we need them if you want. You know what I mean? We can do whatever we want to do with them.
All right. You have anything to add, Steve?
No, I would just say that, these aren't going up everywhere. They're only going up in places where there have been repeat offenses and violations. So it would be very selective and judicious.
Trish?
All set, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, be in touch with you at a later date in regards to the meeting, which is probably an executive session in regards to the sensitive stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, thanks for your time.
Yep, thank you.
All right, on Jack here. You know something, Jack? I'm gonna move you up now, so you're here. So it'll be a discussion on capital budget qualifications.
Good evening, Jack Griffin, 89 Beach Street, Chair of the Capital Budget. I'm just going to read from this since it's easier for me. I'm here tonight in my capacity as Chair of the Capital Budget to provide an overview of the fiscal year 27 budget request and to clarify what qualifies as a capital item under the town's bylaws. I also wish to raise a policy consideration for the Select Board's review. This year, the capital budget's requests are $15,688,637. And it's broken down, the police at $201,000, the fire 2.2 million, the Department of Public Works about 7.4 million, the schools 4.6, the library 300,000, Council on Aging 821, Animal Control 74, Conservation 35, and Beach 38. Under our capital budget bylaw, a capital item is defined as the acquisition of tangible property or the construction of alteration of a public building or public work. It has a projected useful life of 5 years or more. It has an estimated cost of $25,000 or greater. This definition applies to the individual asset or project itself, not to the totals created by aggregating multiple smaller purchases. And I listed some examples. For instance, yesterday at our capital budget meeting, the Beach Commission has presented us with a Kawasaki Mule 4x4, and the cost was $14,249 per unit. And they ordered 2, which brought it to $28,498. Although the combined exceeds $25,000, each unit's below the threshold. And I discussed with Lieutenant Sullivan, advised that this request does not qualify as a capital budget item. Conservation is looking for $25,000. That has a tree funding and land management for $10,000. These requests, to me, represent maintenance and operational activities, not capital assets. In addition, they clearly do not meet the 5-year useful life. The school department submitted a technology request totaling $616,450, with a 5-year plan exceeding $2.2 million. After review, it only appears that one item is clearly qualified as a capital asset based on longevity and asset-like character. The remaining items such as laptops, docking stations, warranties, cameras, access point, and similar equipment are short-lived or consumable technological items. These items do not meet the capital definition and are being aggregated to exceed the $25,000 threshold. They should be in the school budgets, in my opinion. The committee's concern is not structural, not departmental. If aggregation alone is allowed to convert operating or maintenance purchases into capital budget request, the capital threshold becomes a purchase strategy rather than an asset-based standard. Under that approach, virtually any item of useful life could be made capital by ordering enough units. This issue is not limited to one department and should be viewed as a town-wide policy. As part of this discussion, I also would like to recommend that we look at the current $25,000 capital threshold. Communities like Duxbury, use a significantly higher threshold, $100,000, to better distinguish true capital assets from operating and maintenance expenditures. And this reduces pressure on the capital budget request process, limits aggregation strategies, and helps ensure capital funding is reserved for large-scale, long-lived assets. And that's basically what I have to say right now. And I'm looking, for a ruling, because I discussed with Bob about it, and it sounded like it could go in another direction. He said it could go as a group package. It may not. You could do it individually. And that's why I'm here. I don't know which way to make the determination.
Meg, can you come up, please?
I didn't hear you. So, I got my hearing aids in tonight too.
So what are your thoughts on
Uh,
Jack's concerns here?
No, I agree with what Jack is saying. That, that it's been defined as two aspects, over 25,000, it has to exceed 5 years. So on the conservation one, they actually have land management in their budget. I think they're probably trying to get funds from capital because their budget has been cut. But, we borrowed for tree cutting and we should not be doing that. That's an operating expense. And to the point of aggregating a bunch of little things, I think that's, not falling to the category of 5 years or longer lifespan. But I think what he's saying is absolutely appropriate. I think that would leave one area though, that in between the 100,000 or whatever the threshold is deemed to be, and then what is like easily absorbed within a budget, because like the beaches, the Kawasaki's at 14,000, that's not going to be something you can absorb in your budget. So then I think that the town would have to figure out, okay, what's our strategy for approaching those items, because it's not capital and it's not going to be easily absorbed within a budget. I think Peter's got a point.
You want to say something? Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
this is like, I was kidding with Jack when I came in because I said, why are you making my life so difficult? But this is the nerd stuff that I really enjoy. So I'm glad you brought this up. This is you're absolutely right on your definition of what a capital asset has been. That was the definition of an asset when I went to law school, when Bob went to law school. And I was surprised when I looked at the Division of Local Services Department of Revenue Capital Process Manual. They added the purchase, one other thing where a purchase is for bulk purchases of similar items like software, furniture, or radios with an expected useful life of 3 or more years when aggregated have total costs exceeding 25,000. What I think they're doing, Jeff, is they're adopting their definition to the practices of municipality rather than holding to the traditional definition of what a capital asset is.
Mhm.
And I think they're doing that to provide some flexibility to communities in certain situations. I think from a strategic policy planning, what you've got to decide is, do you want to amend and adopt this definition that's broader for certain circumstances? Or you want to go to a budgeting process that incrementally purchases things rather than does it in bulk, so that it's more palatable? They can take small bites at purchasing computer equipment. You can go into you're replacing your iPads and things, 100 at a time rather than buying bulk 500 every 5 years. And it's a similar situation that one municipality will have with cruises versus another. Some municipalities will have cruises as a capital item, 5-year lifespan, over 25,000. And they'll borrow for them. I don't like borrowing for vehicles. I think police vehicles have a shorter than 5-year life because of how they're run. I think they should be incorporated into the operational budget if you can afford to do so. I think this is a really worthwhile conversation. And the town needs to decide, why I like it as a capital item, like doing aggregate capital item, is more oversight of it. You caught this stuff. You're actually reading the rules on capital purchases. And that's an important function. And ruling some stuff out and guiding it into the right area and stuff like that. What'll happen, alternative ways of addressing this is you could put a technology article in every couple of years into your annual or special town meeting. Fund it that way when you have it. So you could do that. You could treat it as a capital, or you could do it with incremental purchasing over a multi-year time.
They've done that, and it's 650,000 roughly right now. And it's like 500,000, 600,000 for it. It amounts to 2.2 million at
Right.
the end. And no matter how you slice it, the town has to pay for it, no matter where it is,
Right.
whichever column.
Right.
But when it's in our column, we're taken away from very major projects.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And then correspondingly, if you force it into an operational budget, you're tightening everybody else's belts too. So that's the conundrum that you're in. There's no perfect answer here at all. The one thing I want to avoid is the borrowing.
Yes, yes.
You should, this is a free cash, like a capital stabilization fund, something like that to pay for it. Borrowing for these types of things gets you into a hole that you want to avoid. So, in summary, I think you've done a really good job of pointing out, this is something that we got to make a decision. We're at a fork in the road here. Do you stick with the traditional definition? Do you broaden it a little bit like DLS has said for practical purposes? Or do you adopt a different purchasing strategy where you're taking small bites at a time? I've seen it done both ways. I've encouraged fire departments that I've worked with to buy hose every year rather than every 5, things like that. I think there's no right answer, but you've got to pick one direction and stick with it.
In my experience through, many years, prior years on the board, capital budget, the only thing that was ever asked for in technology was the Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And this year, you've got all these items in there. So it definitely looks like it's something that they want to get out of the school budget and put on our side, because I believe their budget's going to be about a 5-point-something% and over.
Yeah, you're right.
Increase for us.
You're right. Yeah.
If that's in there, it's going to keep going.
So
up.
this offloads it. Yeah. And there's no
Exactly.
question about that. And there are technical grants that are available through Community Compact and things like that to assist in the purchases of these types of
And
purchases.
I'm not picking on the school
No,
committee.
I don't think you are. I
Yeah.
think you're bringing up a fair point, and you've asked for dialogue about how the town should address it. I think that's your job. So thank you for bringing it up. I get to nerd out on this stuff.
Good job.
Yeah. Good, thank you.
So. When I look at it, is that I agree with Jack. What's technically our bylaws say in regards to this matter?
Yeah, the bylaw has the traditional 5-year, $25,000 definition. So if you're going to adhere to that, you stick with that. Doesn't mean that they can't bring an article. It just doesn't go through capital. It's
Correct.
not a capital article. It's, if you want to look at whether the town needs more flexibility to deal, like the Division of Local Services has recognized, and that frankly, a lot of other communities are adopting, you can go in that direction. You could change the bylaw at some point. But right now, if you're doing a strict construction of the bylaw, Jack's interpretation of the bylaw is correct.
You go by the bylaw, what you're saying is Jack's interpretation, a lot of these things don't belong in there. The good thing with Jack and his committee is that they vet these things out as well in regards to, I guess, needs and all that, right? So if, say, one of these entities puts a article together, it's not gonna get the same vetting, I would imagine, or at least,
Oh, no, you'd still catch it, and the advisory board's gonna talk about it. It wouldn't go through, since it's not a capital asset, I don't believe it would be appropriate to go through the capital planning committee. If you expand your definition, you get an added level of scrutiny because it's gonna go through both advisory and capital. But if you keep it where it is, you know, it's gonna rise and fall, and it comes down to not borrowing, but what you're doing, if you get, you know, because capital should really be, you know, the guardians of anything that's gonna cost,
major,
Yeah.
a big.
it's gonna cause
Manage.
bonding. You're gonna look at free cash or some one-time availability of revenue to pay for it. So, you know, and then the third alternative is, can they do it in smaller bites? You know, we're gonna replace this many laptops a year or something like that. You know, there's different ways to look at it.
It's,
And then,
well, yeah, but that's, when you say small bites, but that's like multiple units, you're saying, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I think
well,
Jack is looking
you're-
at one item.
if you're looking,
$25,000.
yeah,
right?
but if you're looking at $600,000 worth of equipment here, you're probably talking about, you know, either K through 5 or 9 through 12 or something like that you're replacing, you know, hundreds of them. All right. What you could do is, okay, we're gonna do half that amount every year instead of all that amount every 3 years or something like that, you know, so that you can incorporate it into your budget easier. But you're addressing it incrementally rather than in a whole. What you lose is volume purchase, you know, bulk discount. But on the other hand, it may be more tenable in your budget. So, you know, but if you're just reading the bylaw as it's written now, you know,
Most of these don't qualify.
more transactions don't qualify as capital assets, and so you would handle it as a non-capital article.
And if we as a select board say, yeah, we're gonna adhere to the bylaw, the charter in regards to this.
It wouldn't be a capital article.
Then whatever the school, let's just say the schools who's got a good chunk of it, they would have to submit individual articles.
Yeah.
For each one.
Or they'd submit an article, they could submit the article as they submitted it, it just wouldn't be considered a capital article.
What do you thought, Steve?
Well, with respect to all the nerd comments, I can confirm that town hall is a safe space. There are no lockers to be stuffed into here, so feel free to nerd out as much as you want. I think this makes sense and that tonight's definitely a helpful starting point to start the discussion. And I think we have enough time before town meeting, before the warrant has to be published, to hammer out the details and how we want to update the language, right? Because there's definitely pros and cons to both approaches. But I think it makes sense to take a look at it because, you know, the best rules and regulations are clearly defined and enforced predictably. So if we can remove gray area, I think that would be a good thing. And you know, Peter touched on this and you've kind of hit on this in the past with some of the questions you've asked before, Eric, is, you know, I think what will be helpful too is, you know, Jack's trying to modernize the definition to keep up with the times. And what I mean by that is, you know, when Peter talked about the DLS definition, how it incorporates software and technology, right? Like if you were to bulk purchase textbooks, right, that would trigger the current definition. But so many things are electronic now and ebooks and annual software licenses that we have to pay for every single year. That would get missed right now. So if we were to modernize and update the definition, you know, I think it would be a good thing to have more eyes on it because nobody's perfect, you know. So I think that would be a good thing. So I think it was a good discussion. I mean, I would like to try to draft something for town meeting if we feel like there's enough time, but I think this would be more clear and modernize the definition. So I think it would be a good thing.
There's, yes. Anything we're discussing, it this really isn't in the town charter per se, so we don't have to worry about any charter rules on this,
No.
right?
No, it's a bylaw.
It's just a bylaw thing. So if you wanted to have a discussion on it, just change the rules and, what's that?
Charter stuff.
No.
Correct.
And depending on which road we want to go down, it could be a good thing to be consistent with the state's definition.
Yeah, it's the preference of the community. Do you want that widened definition that incorporates things, you know, more of the current situation that municipalities are facing, or do you want to just stick with the rule that you have? Either way, as Jack stated, schools have a need that has to be addressed, whether it goes in a capital article because of the nature of the definite, or how we apply the definition, or it goes in a non-capital article. It's worthy of consideration, and we're gonna have to find a way to accommodate it one way or another.
I mean, the way it's going right now for me, I'm really looking at, especially with all the snowstorms, I don't even know if we're gonna have any money
Yeah,
to
you're
fund
right.
any
You're
of these
right.
requests,
You're right.
to be honest with you. So this could be all moot, one way or the other, unless the school miraculously readjusts their budget and is able to fund this on their own with what they're working with. Trish, do you have anything?
No, I agree. And I say get rid of the gray, make it as clear cut as possible.
All right, so we don't want to make a decision on this tonight, but we want to maybe look at rewording the bylaw.
Yeah, we'd probably have to do an article for town meeting to amend the bylaw to incorporate the DLS, or to propose to incorporate the DLS definition.
So should we go with like two options, like you're suggesting with the DLS, but then
Well,
go another way, like, hey, we're gonna adhere to
yeah,
the 25,000.
if the new definition doesn't pass, then you've got to, you've just got to, you've got two approaches. You treat it as a non-capital article, and it rises and falls, through the advisory board and then at town meeting. Or you approach your budgeting differently, and you start to incorporate smaller purchases of these items into your annual budget each year, smaller amounts. And if that's sustainable, that's one option too. So there's different ways to do it. Depends on the availability of funds and what the other stresses on your budget are.
There's a lot right now.
Yeah.
Meg, do you have any comments on this?
No, I mean, I think that the major issue is that either way, it's going to be a challenge, right? Like whether it's capital or whether it's operating budget. One thing I do want to mention though is I think that it's defined in both the bylaws and the town charter. I think it says in the town charter, it also says 5 years, 25,000.
Okay, we'll check.
Yeah,
We'll check.
so that's,
If it does say that, then
Then it's moved.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, if it does say it in the charter,
Then
then
that could be
we're gonna have to adhere to it anyways, right?
Yeah, it's gonna, either that or amend the charter, and that's a totally different game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I could be
But I-
wrong about that, but I think just do that.
so no, I guess we'll have to verify if it's in the charter.
Yeah.
But if it is, I guess going forward for Jack is that follow what's in the
Jack
charter.
follows, Jack's right following the rule.
Mhm.
All right. So all right, so I think, unless you have anything to add, Steve?
Yeah, but do you want to be shot or stabbed? That's basically the decision before us.
All right. So. All right, so item 2, Melissa Morris will present and discuss, I guess it was a bond item. We all have to say,
Yeah,
want to come up?
this
Melissa?
was, she's here, if she wants to speak, she doesn't like to speak, but.
Well, let's get her used to it, because town meeting's rolling up and there may be many questions to be asked of us, so.
Good evening. We had a bond sale scheduled, have a bond sale scheduled for tomorrow, the closing, and we borrowed 735,000 with a net interest cost of 3.1546, and it's a ban, so it is a temporary borrowing until it rolls into a full borrow when we, put all our big borrowings together.
Yeah, I think I've been through this last year,
Yeah.
and Steve, I'm sure you've been through many of them in your times, though. I think you did it once, late last year, so. So what is required is that Trish needs to read off this whole thing, right?
That vote, yes.
And then we vote on it, and, that'll be that, so Trish? In your court.
I, the clerk of the select board of the town of Marshfield, Massachusetts, certify that a meeting of the board held January 26, 2026, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody.
And we should amend the date.
I was just seeing that, yeah.
Sorry.
It's got to be the date. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, bond council is going to say.
Sorry, I don't even know what date.
Yeah.
What is the date?
29th.
Thank you. Start again?
Probably just to be safe.
Okay.
They're sticklers.
I, the clerk of the select board of the town of Marshfield, Massachusetts, certify that a meeting of the board held January 29, 2026, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted to approve the sale of 735,000, 3.25% general obligation bond anticipation notes of the town dated January 30th, 2026 and payable August 14th, 2026 to Stern Brothers at par and accrued interest, if any, plus a premium of $377.05. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sales of the notes, for preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated January 7th, 2026, and a final official statement dated January 14th, 2026, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the town treasurer and the select board be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with the SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by references in the notes for the benefit of the holders of the notes from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the town treasurer to establish post-insurance federal tax compliance procedures and continuing disclosure procedures in such forms as the town treasurer and the bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update such procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax exempt status of the notes and to comply with relevant security laws. Further voted that any certificates or documents relating to the notes, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document, and electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. Further voted that each member of the select board, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certifications, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the agenda for the meeting, a copy of which is attached hereto, was posted on the bulletin board of the town at least 24 hours before the meeting in compliance with section 7-2 of the town charter. I further certify that the notes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes and is attached hereto, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, and if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03, something to be at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the notes were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law C 30A 18-25 as amended, dated January 29, 2026, and signature of the clerk of the select board.
Thank you, Trish. All right. I move that the board approve the sale of $735,000, 3.25% general obligation bond anticipation notes of the town dated January 30th, 2026, and payable August 14th, 2026 to Stern Brothers at par and accrued interest, if any, plus a premium of $377.05. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks, Boo.
All right, number 3. This will be deficit spending for snow and ice. Peter, you want to give a little background on this?
Yeah, so under Massachusetts general law, one of the only expenditures that a town is allowed to deficit spend or in excess of their budget during a fiscal year is snow and ice removal costs. It is required that municipalities take a vote to allow for the expenditure in excess of appropriation to authorize deficit spending for this purpose. And so that's what you'd be doing tonight.
And we went into deficit spending, not this storm, but the previous storm we had. Am I correct?
Yeah, you were a little bit over going into this storm. And so you're way over now. So you need to pass this.
Do we know what we're at? Now
Not
that-
exactly, no.
Okay.
Nope.
Any questions or comments, Steve?
It's not an uncommon request, I would say, and then just the snow and ice account is one of the only municipal accounts in which you can deficit spend. But that's all I have to add.
Fish?
No, all set.
All right. I move that the board vote to authorize deficit spending for snow and ice removal costs that were not reasonably foreseeable. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. Okay, opioid fund committee grant for Drug Story Theater. Trish, did you want to speak on this?
We are actually postponing this because we weren't able to meet on Monday. Sorry.
Okay,
It'll be the next meeting.
discussion vote seasonal population estimate. So this is from the town clerk. As of today, the population count for Marshfield hovers at 30,300. We all believe this to be an undercount. Based on growth in both single-family homes and recent growth in rental units, the actual population is most probable in the 32,000 person range at minimum. The standard calculation over the last 20 years is that persons returning from their winter homes and vacationers swell the population during the summer months by approximately 17,000. I have consulted with the police chief. He agrees that the other factors we consider, short-term rentals, accessory apartments, Airbnb, local summer festivals, etc., have increased Marshfield's popularity. We feel comfortable estimating the summer population ranges between 45,000 to 47,000 persons. However, with the recent changes to the ADU regulations, this number will rise. If I can be of further assistance, please don't hesitate to call me, Nerese and Casper, the second town clerk. So this is just like a once a year thing there, Peter, right? In regards to, declaring your population, and what is the benefit of this? Can you explain that?
If you're in situations where you're applying for grants based on populations and things like that, this can help get you a higher amount because it establishes the basis for which you'd be giving a higher population than your census count. So this is not done in non-beach or communities without a summer population. It's not done in a lot of communities, but I think it's important to do that here so that, you know, the public and other entities know that your census count doesn't account for how you're stretched in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Questions or comments, Steve?
No, thank you.
Trish?
No, thanks.
Okay. I move that the board vote to approve the seasonal population estimate for 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you. Discussion vote Liberty Elementary School Braintree field trip to Brant Rock Beach on Friday, May 22nd, 2026. This is from Miss Kim Moran, the Liberty School in Braintree. Dear Board of Selectmen, we are fourth grade teachers at the Liberty Elementary School in Braintree. We would like to bring our fourth grade group of 95 students to Brant Rock Beach for tide pooling on Friday, May 22nd, 2026. We plan on arriving around 9:45 a.m. and leaving by 1 p.m. Would it be possible for you to open the public restrooms for us? We have done this trip for 20 years and are a pack in, pack out group. We are respectful of others around us, bring parents to help supervise, and bring our school nurse to handle any medical issues. We are aware of how the storms sometimes affect this area and will take that into consideration when we set up if there is any seawall or building construction near the beach. In a previous year, we shared the tide pool area with another group, and that worked out very nicely for everyone. Thank you for your consideration as request. Kim Moran, Sheila Ochio, Jennifer O'Sullivan, Michael Keeney. This was requested for Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Peter, do we know in regards to the public bathroom request, if that can be accommodated or not?
I believe that it can be, and the beach administrator didn't have any problem with this.
Okay, so she has it on her calendar
Yeah.
in case it's not open.
You know, I want to say two things because number one, I went on this field trip when I was in fourth grade. Number two, as a counselor, I represent the Liberty Elementary School in my district, so it's very important that the school accommodate this request.
Nay.
You want some red carpet treatment is what you're saying, right?
That's right. It's a great school. I love that field trip. I still remember it. And I was in fourth grade. That was a long time ago.
You gonna be a chaperone?
I don't think they'll want me there.
Don't sell yourself short, Peter.
There you go.
Steve, you have any questions or comments on it?
I hope all the snow melts by May.
Wait,
I hear you on that one. Trish?
no, I'm good.
Okay. I move that the board vote to approve the Liberty Elementary School from Braintree, Massachusetts field trip to Brant Rock Beach on Friday, May 22nd, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
You file an ethics disclosure?
Gonna have to do that.
All right, discussion vote on Marshfield Boys and Girl Club parking permit request for Levitate Music Festival, July 18th and July 19th, 2026 for the following lots: Grace Ryder House Lot, South River School Lot, Seth Ventures Hall Lot, and lot adjacent to Central Fire Station, 60 River Street. Fire Department, no issues, please, no issues. Building Department, any signs will need to be approved by Building Commission beforehand, and the Building Department will work with the Boys and Girls Club planning for the festival. Dear Marshall Select Board and Interim Town Administrator, I am writing today to request the use of the following town parking lots to assist with the parking for the Levitate concert on July 18th and 19th, 2026. I already read those parking lots. Our volunteers will make sure that cars are parked appropriately and that any trash put into trash containers supplied by the town to always keep the areas clean and safe. If there are any problems, we have directed our volunteers to contact the Marshall Police Department. Our volunteers are trained and have many years of experience in parking vehicles and numerous events. If there are any questions or require any additional questions, please call, write, or I will be available to meet in person anytime. Marshall Boys and Girls Club has been facilitating parking in conjunction with the Levitate organization for the previous 11 years. We look forward to continuing our involvement with this great community event. Respectfully, Jim Bunnell. Questions or comments, Steve?
No, they've done this for a number of years, never been an issue, so I'm good with it.
Trish?
I do. I have a question. I know that this is a nonprofit, but these are town buildings and these cars are being parked on town parking lots.
Mhm.
So are we held responsible? Like we insure these? So if there's an accident,
It's a good question, I think. What do you think, Peter?
I think you could condition this on them providing an insurance policy with the town named as an insurer, so that we would be held harmless if there were any issues. Yeah.
okay. I just think to cover us.
No, I
mean-
think it's a great point. that you
And,
brought up, too.
and I know we do this for the schools as well, for a lot of athletics. And, you know, I know that we're in a deficit in the athletics, so I'm just wondering like where that money goes.
What kind of insurance policy should we look for? Should we look at, I mean, because it can't just be auto. I mean, they're on the property too, right? So you're probably looking for
It would be a property insurance policy that would be short in length for the period of time that they're, for these 2 days. That would indemnify the town from any harm to vehicles. That would incur. So. This is typical for, communities that, if you have a assembly hall or you use a town hall auditorium, if somebody rents it, that it's typical for them to provide insurance, just like, when a one-day liquor license is issued, you make sure that they have the town named as an insured party.
All right, so at the moment, I have a condition on property insurance policy that indemnifies the town. Does that cut it, you
Yeah.
think? Okay,
So Eric,
Yes.
the thing, I'm just, we're talking about parking down in Brant Rock, and this is just, again, I realize it's nonprofit and it goes to this organization, but we have schools that do it. And, the town, we don't get anything. So I just don't know if, we're talking about parking in Brant Rock, but we have people parking at different events, and then we also have people parking at schools and being bussed in. Is there any type of, do we recoup anything from that on
When
any
you
of
say-
these
when you
events?
say recoup. what do you
Like,
mean?
do we make any money off this? These are huge.
No,
events.
I mean, let's put it this way. I think I brought this up last year or even that the year before in regards to the Boys and Girls Club, because the neighbors in the area, they pay $1 a car, whatever it works to be for the town, right? And so I brought up, I was like, do you think the Boys and Girls Club should pay $1 a car, whatever the amount is? Is that something what you're looking at? That you'd
No,
like to
no,
visit, or?
Well, I guess, yeah, that's what I was asking, but one, I didn't know that all the neighbors paid money to the.
Yeah, you'll be seeing that, I think, down the road in regards to approving them to.
Okay.
The lawns in front of the houses to park cars, I think they gotta pay, there's a rough estimate of how many cars get parked in, they pay the town.
Okay, no, if it's a nonprofit, but I was just curious.
All right, so going,
I'm good, I'm good.
you're good on this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I move that the board vote to approve the Marshfield Boys and Girls Club parking permit request for Levitate Music Festival, July 18th and July 19th, 2026 for the following lots: Grace Ryder House Lot, South River School Lot, South Veterans Hall Lot, and lot adjacent to the Central Fire Station 60 South River Street, contingent upon building department approval on signage for this event. It will be conditioned on the property insurance policy that would indemnify the town. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 And going forward, Peter, or I guess Michelle, I'm thinking that as we name off like Grace Ryder House Lot, South River, we should have an address for each one. Discussion vote to approve Friends of Marshfield Dog Park nail trim fundraiser on Sunday, February 1st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hello, I'm organizing a fundraiser to benefit our nonprofit. I know we're not allowed to charge a fee on town-owned land. Our workaround for this rule has been to have the business accept the payment and then make a donation to our nonprofit. This will be Sunday, February 1st from 11 to 1 at the Marshall Dog Park. Fluffed Up Mobile Grooming will donate a portion of the sales for each nail trim. Funds raised will be used to help volunteers pay for the maintenance of the park. We will pay over $10,000 annually for our weekly pet waste removal service. Thank you for your assistance in helping our volunteers request permission to raise funds. Kind regards, Aaron Fitzpatrick, Vice President. When Steve, this is kind of your little thing here. When they're not allowed to charge a fee on town-owned lands. Can you explain?
I can explain it.
Yeah, can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
You've got a little insight on it?
Yeah, well, I would first say we've approved like 5 of these by a 3-0 vote. Basically, you cannot solicit donations on town property, right? But you can have a table and a donation jar out, and people can drop it if they want, which is like, you'll notice at a town election is usually a table for Grad Night Live, with a jar out, stuff like that. So you just can't solicit donations, but if a business wants to do an event there and make a donation after the fact, they can do that, but.
All right, I understand how that works. Okay, so yeah, like you said, it's a workaround on it and everything. So, all right, I get that. Okay, Trish, any
No.
thoughts, comments? No. All right. I move that the board vote to approve the Friends of Marshall Dog Park nail trim fundraiser on Sunday, February 1st, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Marshall Dog Park, contingent upon obtaining the necessary building permits. Should tents over 200 square feet be used for this event? I do want to pause right there because going back on what Trish brought up earlier, this should be something on an insurance basis as well?
Yeah, I think so, because somebody's dog gets hurt. I'll check into it, but I would say contingent upon demonstration of an insurance policy that holds a town hall.
All right, so contingent, this would be contingent on insurance policy that may be needed for the event. Is that all right?
You're probably not going to be able to do that between now and February 1st, but I think we take our chances with the dogs, and I don't
Going
know.
forward?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just leave that out, but going forward, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So they clip carefully.
I'm gonna have to amputate some toes.
Frostbite.
Discussion vote to approve the run on Rock Road race on Saturday, September 12th, contingent upon favorable recommendation of police, fire, and building departments. Dated January 11th, 2026. We are requesting the use of public roads for the Run to the Rock 5K, 10K, and half marathon road races to take place on Saturday, May 12th, 2026, beginning at 8 a.m., starting and ending at the Furnace-Brook Middle School as we did last year. Attached, please find the proposed course maps. We will have volunteers and course markings located throughout the route to ensure runners are directed along the correct roads. Additionally, there will be volunteers, staffed, water stops along the route. Police details and EMTs will be on site as recommended by those departments. Thank you, Anne Marie Winchester, from Duxbury, it looks like. And Andrew has some conditions in here. As to, I think, signage. Fire recommends a 2-person EMS detail with the vehicle to follow runners There's a map in here showing at least the route from North Marshfield all the way down to Furnace Brook Middle School. Map around the schools. And that's it. Question or comment, Steve?
No, we had 0 issues last year, so I'm good.
Trish?
What rock are they running to? Well, it said it's run to the rock, right?
It's a good question.
I thought it was Plymouth Rock until I saw it was all Marshfield.
It's a good question.
Okay.
I didn't even think of it and I couldn't answer it. Pete, do you have an answer for that?
I have no clue.
We
Okay,
could like consecrate one as a tourist trip.
that is true. Actually, we could actually bring one there, right?
Yeah.
Brent Rock.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe it's Brent Rock.
Probably Brant Rock.
Okay.
How the brand is.
Isn't it a goose?
It's a
Type of good.
seabird, yeah.
Yeah.
You run them in water.
All right. I move that the board approve the Run to the Rock Road Race on Saturday, September 12th, contingent upon the applicant securing a 2-person EMS detail with the vehicle to follow runners on all courses recommended Marshfield Fire Department and obtain the necessary building permits should tents over 200 square feet be used for this event as required by the building department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 I figured it out. It's because the MC for the event is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So he's going to hang out for the day.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay.
Try.
In music room.
We don't want any false advertising going on,
Yeah, it boosts turnout.
No, it would, absolutely. Discussion vote to approve 2 donations for Town of Marshall Veteran Services in the amount of $200. Town of Marshfield Veteran Services requests permission to accept donations in the amount of $100 from Mr. and Mrs. David Carrier. I want to thank them both. And the Town of Marshall Veteran Services requests permission to accept donations in the amount of $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Hanlon. The donation will be used to provide assistance for health, welfare, morale, and financial need of our veterans and independents. I want to say thank you to the Hanlons for that donation. Questions or comments, Steve?
No, thank you for the donation.
Trish?
No, thank you.
I move that the board vote to approve with gratitude the following gifts. Gift of $100 to the Town of Marshall Veteran Services from Mr. and Mrs. David Carrier. And a gift of $100 to the Town of Marshall Veteran Services from Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Hanlon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Discussion vote to accept 4 donations for Ventures Memorial Library totaling $1,385.42. Dated December 31st, 2025. Dear members of the Select Board, on behalf of the Ventures Memorial Library, I am running to formally request your acceptance of a $160 donation from the South of Boston Knitting Guild in appreciation of using the library's meeting room for their monthly Knitting Guild meetings. Also, a $25 donation in honor of Mary Gina Stillwell from Andrew and Marianne Boothroyd. We are sincerely grateful for the generosity and continued support of the library. Thank you for consideration, Cindy J. Marcoux. Dated January 9th, 2026, dear members of the Select Board, on behalf of the Veterans Memorial Library, I'm ready to formally request your acceptance of a $30 donation from Jacqueline Robinson and a $1,170.42 from the Friends of Veterans Memorial Library. These funds are to be allocated for adult programs. We are sincerely grateful for the generosity and continued support of the library. Thank you for consideration, Cindy J. Marcoux. I move that the board vote to approve with gratitude the following gifts to the Ventures Memorial Library totaling $1,385.42. A gift the amount of $160 from the South of Boston Knitting Guild in appreciation of using their library's meeting room for their monthly meetings. A gift the amount of $25 in honor of Mr. Mary Gina Stillwell from Andrew and Marianne Boothroyd. A gift in the amount of $30 from Jacqueline Robinson to be allocated for adult programs. Gift in the amount of $1,170.42 from the Friends of Ventures Memorial Library to be allocated for adult programs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Acceptance of a donation from Marshall Recreation Department in the amount of $5,800. Good morning. This is dated January 13th from Nancy Bowers. We have received a grant from Edwin Phillips Trust to help us with our RAMS program in the amount of $5,800. Can you please put this in the next select board agenda for approval to accept? I move that the board vote to approve with gratitude the following gift to the Marshfield Recreation Department in the amount of $5,800. A gift of $5,800 from the Edwin Phillips Trust to be allocated to the RANS program. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Discussion and vote to approve one-day alcohol liquor license for H Cole Club LLC for Galantines dinner and cake decorating on Thursday, February 12, 2026 at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Friendship Hall, 830 Main Street. All pertinent documentation received in this application. Name of applicant Michelle Jarvis, name of business H Cole Club LLC. Mailing address 10 Central Avenue, Unit 414, Hammerock, Mass. 02047. Hours of event 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friendship Hall's location 830 Main Street. Liquor liability insurance is included. Tip certification. Written event narrative. The event will be held indoors. Signed by Michelle Jarvis, 1/21/2026. Everything looks good here in regards to tips and all that. Comments or questions, Steve?
Yes, it's a play on words. It's Galentine's Day. It's like for all your lady friends to get together and celebrate each other. I think it was the TV show Parks and Recreation coined it originally. It's taken off since then, become like a cultural mainstay. Pretty funny.
Much like
Friendsgiving.
Festivus.
Yes.
Festivus.
And
Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving, yeah.
Yes.
Still having fun that day.
Trish, any comments or questions?
No?
Okay, I move that the board vote to approve a one-day alcohol liquor license for H Cole Club LLC for Galentine's dinner and cake decorating on Thursday, February, March 12, 2026, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Friendship Hall, 83 Old Main Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Discussion vote to approve the 2026 Bike MS Cape Cod Getaway event on Saturday, June 27, 26, contingent upon favorable recommendation from Police, Fire, and Building Department. January 21st, 2026. Attention, Eric Kelly, Chair, Select Board, Marshall, Mass. On behalf of the National MS Society Greater New England Market, I would like to extend our gratitude for the continuous support and cooperation the town of Marshall has shown for the annual Bike MS event. The funds raised for this event will continue to be used to advance our support for national research and to support local programming for more than 27,000 people with the Greater New England who are affected by multiple sclerosis. The 2026 Bike MS Cape Cod Getaway event is scheduled to take place on Saturday, June 27, 2026. We anticipate that we will have around 800 participants for this event that will start at State Street Bank, 1776 Heritage Drive, Quincy, Mass. Our cyclists will be passing through Marshall between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. As they take part in one of our route options, 75 miles or 100 miles, I have included written riding directions for your review and will thoroughly mark the route and make arrangements to have police details where appropriate. Our routes feature safety stops every 8 to 15 miles so our cyclists remain hydrated and nourished. All cyclists agree to follow the rules of the road and are directed to ride single file. We do not ask for road closures, and this is not a race. We issue one warning to cyclists not following the rules of the road. On the next infraction, we pull them from the ride and require them to ride to the finish line in one of our route support vehicles. We mark our route with small coroplast signs attached to utility poles or stakes. A volunteer will follow the route on the day of the ride and remove all signs after the final cyclist has passed. We operate a support team consisting of medical personnel, bicycle mechanics, and amateur ham radio operators. Our lead ham radio operator monitors all emergency radio frequencies so that we can close or redirect our route should that become necessary. Respectfully ask permission from the town of Marshfield to use town roads for this event. If we have your permission, please sign and return the approval reply form enclosed here for me. If there are any other additional steps, permits, or permissions I must take to ensure approval of this event, please let me know. Sincerely, thank you in advance for your support. Feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns. Sandy Haslam, Event Manager, Route and Permitting Specialist. Any questions or comments, Steve?
No, we've had no issues with the event, so I'm good.
Trish?
No.
So fire department has no issues. Building department says they need to obtain a permit for the building department if they're placing any tents over 200 square feet at the Amesway School Rest Stop. I move that the board approve the 2026 Bike MS Cape Cod Getaway event on Saturday, June 27, 26, contingent upon securing the necessary permits if applicable from the building department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Discussion vote policy on budget compliance. So this is something I've been having a discussion with, and I wasn't too sure where you guys felt that you wanted to do. Considering the budget situation we're in, and then as we're coming up with the new budget for the next fiscal year, we want to hold departments, department heads, I guess you could look at, accountable to the budget that is given to them. I wasn't too sure if you would be in favor of coming up with a policy that, look, if they go over their budget, and they go into, I guess, in a negative on it, they have to come before the select board, give us all their documentation and explain themselves for it. We all know that there's certain things that circumstances have, but I think this way, this provides, in my opinion, a good governance on our part to make sure that everybody's adhering to the budget as best they can. What are your thoughts, Steve?
I just have a question for Peter. In your experience, what are kind of the best practices approach to these types of things?
It varies quite a bit. I mean, there are some town charters that have provisions in that if you have an expense that is not that was not explicitly appropriated, it becomes a personal it becomes personally attributable to the individual who accrues it. So like if somebody went over their budget purposely and knew that they didn't have money in it and spent it anyway, they become personally liable. But in others, it's, you know, the process where you have to answer for going over your budget is usually requesting a supplemental. And there's a lot of, you know, you have to be accountable at that point and provide the same excuse. What you're doing is you're ensuring a little bit more transparency if you adopt something like this because you're doing it at a meeting where a department under your jurisdiction is going to have to explain it. Yeah, I went over and these are the reasons why. And you guys would have a forum to ask any questions and you're better educating the public and, you know, in the circumstances that they're facing. You know, most cases, the vast majority of cases, you know, the excess expenditures are, you know, have great, you know, they're easy to validate. Great, you know, there's great background for it, you know, overtime due to an emergency or something like that, or, you know, somebody get called up for a military duty, so everybody else had to do extra shifts, and that's where you incur overtime, things like that. Or, you know, but if they're, yeah, you know, so you usually capture it in the supplemental budget process, but if you want to adopt an added layer and you know, draw more attention to it or be more transparent about it, that's fine.
Thanks.
I'm for anything that's going to be more transparent. Obviously, we haven't had that in the past and we find ourselves in this problem. So I think if it's going to help with transparency, absolutely.
Meg, do you want to add on to this at all?
So from a statutory standpoint, I'm not allowed to approve any expenditures that go over a budget. So if a department is over and they present me with an invoice, my requirement, it's not my discretion. My requirement is to not process it. But what I will say is that not all deficits are created equal, because you could have a scenario where I mean, we're probably talking public safety, most likely, is that there's a public safety issue, right? We're not going to not approve something because it presents a public safety issue to the public. Those have to be approved. And then to also add to this, that there's a process from May 1st through July 15th, year-end transfers, which I think you've gone through this before. And that is required that both the select board and the advisory board approve those. But, you know, what if there's a deficit prior to May 1st? You know, what happens at that point? I'm statutorily required, like, let's say it's not emergency, statutorily required not to approve that. What happens at that point? That would be the question.
All right, so you think a policy, it would be, in our opinion, the select board should have a policy that somebody goes over what they're budgeted. You know, hey, you gotta explain for yourself, at least that way we can ask questions, get answers, but also the public will have an understanding of the situation as well.
Right, because even if, I mean, it would have to be decided who, if it's not an emergency, or even with an emergency still has to have a funding source. Who makes that decision as to how to, you know, can we move forward with this expense? I mean, Peter touched upon it, you know, is the person personally liable? I mean, that would be one consideration, but then the other one is who approves the expense. And there also has to be a funding source. And, you know, our issue right now is there's not going to be pots of money to cover these expenses. Free cash is tight. You know, having surpluses and budgets, that might not be there.
All right, so I would say between Trish and Steve, you guys are you good with me sitting down with like Peter and Meg, draft up a policy and then vote on it another meeting?
Yeah, draft something up. Yeah.
You're good with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Meg. Okay, acceptance of minutes. Vote to accept meeting minutes from January 12th, 2026, open meeting minutes. Move that the board vote to approve open meeting minutes from January 12th, 2026, select board meetings as set forth in the select board packet. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 I should ask you guys if you have any questions or comments on it, right? And that looks like it does it. And do I have a vote to adjourn this meeting at 6:17 on January 29th, 2026?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.